Welcome back. It is time once again to do my reading journal for the month. It is time for the February 2026 reading journal, and I am going into this pre-printed reading journal by the Book Sisters, which I started using last month, and I'm still undecided on it, even after using it again this month. But let's go through and start filling this out, and we'll talk about it. So I'm just starting off with the basic reading tracker list. This is the overarching list that they have at the beginning of the journal, that I write down all the books that I read in a month, and the star ratings and so on and so forth. I read 14 books in February, which is crazy because it's 2 days shorter than any other month, and I started my TBR with 29 and ended with 22, and I'm going to call that a win. I am so close to getting my TBR down to about 10 or so, and once again, we are not counting books to buy on my TBR. These are only books that I own, that I haven't read yet. So, progress. Anyways, 14 books this month. It was a fairly mixed bag. There was a lot of indie in here, which is great. Some of the books I loved, some of the books I didn't, and yeah. Still, I think it was a pretty productive month, given everything. Some of the books were fairly short. I was feeling a bit poorly, and so I did a couple of novellas and some rereads, and it was fine. But I am better now, so that's always a good thing. I did end up reading a book that you won't see in here for review. It was my book, The Wingswept Sky, Cozy Fantasy with Dragons. I read it because I am going through and collecting quotes for promotional purposes, and frankly, I don't need to write a book review about my own book. That seems a little bit self-serving, so we're just not going to. Anyways, I'm going through and adding in all the star ratings for the various books. I will say that the spiral-bound spine of this notebook is getting in the way of it being comfortable to fill out. I have to kind of hold it at the right level. So, still not sold on this reading journal. Anyways, once I get this list filled out with the star ratings done in purple for February, because why not, and writing in all of the information as to what month it was when I read this, we can start flipping through the rest of the notebook to fill out the relevant pages. So I am using as my pen for this month a Pilot retractable fountain pen. It has some purple ink in it. I'm trying to use up the ink so I can refill it with a different color for March. Going in through the various pages, I don't need to fill out most of these. I didn't know it had a year in books page. I didn't know it had a lot of these bingo pages. I really should maybe pay attention. But we're going to go straight back to the February pages, at which point I decide that it is completely redundant because I just filled that out. So I'm not even going to bother filling out anything in the February pages. I'm just going to go straight back to the book reviews. Let's get started. The first book I read for this month was Love and Letter Charms. This is the third book in the Charmed Leaf Legacy, cozy, historical fantasy, romantic, Bridgerton-esque series by Rachel Morgan. It is delightful. I love this whole series. I love each and every book. I find them super entertaining, super fun, lighthearted, no spice, just sweet and wholesome, and absolutely really nicely well written, and I am really excited for the next book to come out in July. This is one of the indie books that I bought in physical copy to have on my shelf, and I do not regret that in the slightest. Highly recommend this series. The next book that I read was Keeper of the Gate by Margaret Feuerman. This is a book that I read for the SPFBO contest. I am a judge under the fantasy faction team, and so this is one of the first round picks that I've been reading, and it was very good. It's kind of epic fantasy, kind of slice of life at the same time, and the characters were very well crafted. I loved the uniqueness of the culture of the world. It made perfect sense within the context of what had been going on, and I really liked that it didn't just borrow from Earth culture. It actually had a purpose for being there. I think that was very well done, even if I didn't necessarily agree with all the things that they were doing. At least it made sense, and I enjoyed it a fair bit. I probably won't continue in the series, though it didn't grip me that much. The thicker black pen that you see me use is a Conklin fountain pen with the Uberflex nib. It is extremely bold, and my handwriting is far too small for this, so I don't really love this pen, but it's good for line art, I guess, maybe. Anyways, moving on. The next book that I read is Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. I have read pretty much all of her books. A while back, I need to reread Rebecca and My Cousin Rachel and all that, and I really enjoyed them. She has such a way of creating a world that just immerses you in the characters' life and their emotions and everything, and I think it's delightful. I didn't know what to expect from this book. I just knew it was one of hers that I hadn't read yet, and it was really very interesting. It's a story about a married woman who goes off after having become disillusioned with her life, and she falls in love with this pirate, and the story did not go at all in the direction I was expecting, but I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I highly recommend it. Absolutely love all of Daphne du Maurier's stories. There's just something so rich about her writing, and I love it. Also, she has strange comma usage, but that's neither here nor there. The next book that I read is Legacy Bound by Elizabeth Daly. This is another SPFBO read, and I wanted to like this one. It had potential to be an entertaining and well-crafted, kind of unique romantasy. It was not a romantasy. I mean, there are certain expectations that you have for a romance, and this did not fulfill those expectations, even though there was romance, and it just got very frustrating. I also wish the characters were a little bit less two-dimensional. They kind of fulfilled a role and didn't really expand beyond that, so a little disappointing in this one. The next book I read was another SPFBO read. This is Liches Get Scritches by H.J. Tolson, and I loved it. Oh my goodness. It is a cultivation fantasy from the perspective of Jenkins, the cat, who is familiar / pet to a hedge witch, and he is going about cultivating chi to protect his home and his forest from some undead monsters that are lurking and trying their very best to take over. And this was such a good book. The narration was on point. It was perfectly told from the perspective of a cat while still being relatable to people, and the world was fascinating. It was fun. It was somehow cozy and dark all at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. It was very entertaining, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would love more Jenkins stories, but the main series that this is part of is all about his hedge witch human. So, more Jenkins. Anyways, the next book I read, this was when I was feeling poorly, so I started some novellas. This is Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This was a fun read. It is Ali Hazelwood kind of really condensed down into novella form, and it's got the requisite drama, the characters having their miscommunication and getting over it. I think the banter was super fun, and I loved the fictional fantasy novel that they had in here that they were building a video game off of. I think that was very clever. And yeah, I don't know what to say. It's Allie Hazelwood, and she's one of my favorite romance authors, so I enjoyed it, especially since I was not feeling well. Some days you just need a romance to get over a cold, which is pretty much why I read the next book. This is Problematic Summer Romance. I have read this book before. It is one of those I need something intelligent but lighthearted all at the same time. And it is a book that I just enjoy. I've read this once, twice now, and I'll probably read it again because I like it quite a bit. I'm a sucker for an intelligent romance, and I really need more of them. I feel like there's been a lack of that, and so if you have any recommendations, do let me know. The next book that I read is another SPFBO read. This is the non-magical Declan Moore, which is really hard to say out loud, by Nathan Taylor. This is a coming of age kind of academy fantasy YA, but not really novel. This non-magical kid wants to have magic, and so he applies to a magical university, and then the university contacts him and his parents go missing, and it's a whole to-do. There's a lot going on. The kid is whiny. I do not like him at all, which is a problem because he's the main character, and some of the situations he ends up in are quite ridiculous, and no one would ever logically put him in that situation. So not for me. The next book I read was Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. This was charming and intelligent, and I loved the historical setting of Renaissance Italy. I mean, we need more fantasy books set in Renaissance Italy. It was delightful, so well written. I love her books. I've read pretty much most of her YA books, and this is her first adult fantasy, and I think it was really well done. I liked the magic, I liked the premise, the love story between the two primary characters was wonderfully crafted. I think the enemies to lovers worked really well, and the banter, and just how much yearning there was. Wonderful. Absolutely recommend this book. The next book I read was yet another SPFBO read. This was Of Mages and Makers by Rel Carroll, and it was so fun. This is a steampunk romantasy, and I don't know what to say except that the normal tropes that you get, the character archetypes that you see in romantasies, turned on their head. It was so fun. The male main character is a dandy who is trying his best to appear useless, and the main female character is wealthy and trying to find her place in life before she gets shipped off to be married to some mage that she doesn't actually like. And it was so nice. I really approve of this story. Absolutely would recommend and absolutely would read more from this author. And the ending, very clever indeed. It was at this point that my pilot fountain pen died, and I moved over to the Conklin completely, and you can see it's just massive. I do not like it at all. Great for line art though, so I'll keep it for art. The next book I read was Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This is her next cozy fantasy read. It is about a cat shelter in Art Deco 1920s Montreal, and how Agnes, the owner, is trying to find a new building for it and ends up in the basement, or with a mage in her new basement. And it's so fun. I loved the cats, I loved the magic, the characters were snarky and charming, and it was great. Highly recommend. The next book I read was A War of Wyverns by S.F. Williamson. This is the second book to A Language of Dragons. Don't ask me what the full series is called because I cannot remember. I think this book actually did better than book one. Book one had a few character plot hole related activities, and I think this book did much better kind of rounding out the characters and making them feel more real. There was a little less language in this one. I wanted more linguistics, but what can you expect? Oh well, it was charming and I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I will absolutely be reading the next one. So, very nicely well done. If someone does know the name of the series, please let me know. It's been driving me crazy. The last book I read for this month was Relentless Blades by Russell Carroll. I want to say Rex Carroll, but it's not. It's Russell Carroll. This is a book for the Indie Blog Off Remnant contest that I'm judging for. It is a grimdark fantasy, and I had a hard time with this one. The writing is pretty well done. It's fairly smooth, fairly easy to read. The world is intricate and involved, but there are some situations with the characters, like eyeballs melting. Eyeballs don't melt, they curdle, and not at those temperatures. And then there were some other character issues, and I didn't love it. So now I'm going to go back and fill in the rest of some of these challenges. This is the A to Z challenge, and I'll color in some of these cover challenges, and I don't love all of these things. The last reading journal I did just had a cover page, a couple of bookshelf trackers, and then the book reviews. And I didn't love putting together the book review pages because they were so large and I didn't have the decorations that I wanted and that sort of a thing. But I really don't love all the extra faff that this journal has. I really love the book review pages. I think they are laid out pretty well and they work very nicely for me. I can have just a touch of decoration and still find it interesting. But this one, I love this bookshelf tracker, which I didn't even know was there, so I'm now filling in for January and February both. But the rest of it, there's a lot of redundancies, there's things that I don't really care about, and I'm not sold on it. I will keep using it at least until June, and I will see what I think then. I might end up creating a new reading journal. We'll see. Anyways, that is what I read for this month. Here are the reviews that I did. I love the simple decorations and the simple review spaces. I think it looks really nice and tidy, and so I do love the journal for that. It was a pretty productive month, and I hope it was for you too. Did you read any really good books in February? If so, do let me know, and as always, happy reading, and I will see you next time.